just purely looking at an academic answer and pushing the children from that front. Always reward them if they have achieved their personal best. That is how you push your child. You don't push your child to compare with somebody else, because that is not their personal best.
Welcome to episode number 70 of the 100 Successful Women, a Conversation to Inspire series. Thanks to each and every one of you for another milestone of this series. Your support meant the world to me, especially to those women who wonderfully share their stories wholeheartedly. In today's episode, I'm so grateful to have someone whom I love dearly joining us on our conversation. Christine Wen is a remarkable woman who's not only transformed countless young lives through education, but is also an inspiring speaker and business coach, empowering others to build successful business like hers. 20 years ago, Christine left her successful career in corporate finance, where she managed a 100 million portfolio to follow her passion to education. Today, she's the founder of C3 Education Group with 4 campuses across Sydney and an innovative online learning school. But here's what Christine's story truly special. While building this successful education empire, she raised 4 high-achieving children, including an aspiring doctor and lawyer. Her journey as a successful mompreneur is far from inspiring. I honestly couldn't pick enough of Christine's brand. Her wealth of knowledge in business, education, and parenting is absolutely incredible. She's so open about sharing both her successes and challenges, making this conversation pure gold for any parent or entrepreneur. So without further ado, let's all dive into the conversation with Christine coming up next. Hello, my big sister Christine, how are you?
I'm well. Thank you for having me.
I'm super excited to finally get hold of our super busy Christine to be on our 100 Successful Women podcast. She's super busy. How are you today?
I'm busy.
As usual, right?
As usual.
Thank you so much for taking some time off to join us today on this conversation to inspire. So for those of you who are listening, I know Christine for a while. We were doing the same course together and we are still doing the same course together. So she is someone who is very bubbly, and she is someone that I really looks up to because she is a super mom of 4 high-achieving kids. She is a mompreneur. She just recently received a Mompreneur Awards as well. So, Christine, if you did watch some of my video, you know that the first question that I always ask, despite all the hats that you're wearing, you're super mom, you're entrepreneurs, you are a speaker, you are a coach, so many roles that you're playing. Who is Christine Wen at your core?
Oh, wow. I think this is a really good question. It's a very hard question as well. If I was to say who I am, I think I'm someone who wants to make impact to the world, and be that, to children, to parents, to, because I am also a business coach, looking at all angles of, business. At the end of the day, it's about me being impactful to the world. So who am I really? I serve others. I teach others. I, impart information, and I ensure that other people are taken care of. So it could be my children, it could be my clients, it could be my friends, my family. So when you ask me who is at the core, I think I am, someone who will serve others in their endeavors.
I really agree with what Christine was saying, because she's definitely someone with a big heart. She looks after us all the time, and then she's someone who is very caring, and then whenever we text her, she probably will reply us. She try to answer our question as much as she can. She's someone who is like with a servant heart. I love that, and for her employees as well. So So what are you mentioned that you are a business coach, Christine, and also tell us a little bit about your journey. What are, I did mention a few things earlier, but what exactly that you are doing now at the moment, Christine?
Wow, where do I even start, Viv?
I know that's a big story to tell. Try to limit it I know it's hard. Tell me briefly, what are you doing at the moment, Christine?
Oh, look, let me put it to you this way. Every day I wake up and I have a pep in my step because I just know that I'm going to have fun with all the people that I work with. So what am I doing on a day-to-day basis other than looking after all my kids and making sure they're fed? Right, so that's my first hat. I'm working with so many awesome clients who are actually coaches and speakers who really, really want to take their business to the next level. So from an immediate point of view, that's what I do. But in the background, I'm also looking after my staff. I have C3 Education Group, I have C3 Childcare Group. So, education is at the core of it. And at the end of the day, because education is at the core of everything I do, I find that when I'm speaking to clients and teaching them about business, thus the business coaching, it almost rounds off this virtuous cycle of all the activities that make up my day before I go down and have a nap or go down for sleep. So ultimately, on a day-to-day basis, I think what I enjoy the most and what I do for my clients and for my staff and for the families and students that I take care of is to ensure that they are well looked after in every aspect of their needs. When you ask me, what do I do each day and what am I doing right now? It is to make sure that the process is in place, that family, students and clients are looked after, staff are looked after, and I forgot my children, they're looked after as well.
Wow.
Let's not look after the husband, but yes.
Yes, how amazing Christine is. She is like I say, she wears different hats. From what she just shared in those few minutes, you know how much work Christine is doing, and she's still able to have a big smile on. She's always bubbly, she's quirky, and she's always so fun to be with. That's 100%. And so I know that you are transitioning from a corporate finance background as well. How did the transition work? I know I knew a little bit about your story because I heard Christine speak on stage. So do you want to share with us how that journey transition of being in the corporate to now being an entrepreneur?
Oh, wow. I really love this question too. Actually, all your questions are so inspiring and it really gives me an opportunity to share my story. So, of course, if you look at me, I'm an Asian woman. And of course, all Asian daughters need to oblige by what their Asian parents want them to do. So I think my journey was so typical in the beginning. You go to school, you get your marks, you go to university, you get a 9-to-5 job. And of course, all parents think finance because that's where all the money is. So if you're not, doctors or lawyers, then you've got to be in this space. And I thought, well, that's then logical, isn't it? But of course, those who know me, I'm a very creative person. I'm a creative thinker, and really just to be boxed into that, I don't think it was bad, but it was definitely not me being the best version of myself. So I actually spent about 10 years in the corporate space. And one day, after enjoying my marriage for 4 years, I fell pregnant and I thought, this is my ticket. It has to be my ticket out. But of course, every transition in life is so scary, really fearful, because you're so used to the stability. You're so used to getting the paycheck and having the paycheck and being able to pay bills, and you think, I'm actually stepping into an extra mouth to feed, a new family with more expenses, and if I don't have a stable 9-to-5 job, what does that mean? So of course, what did I do? I thought to myself, you know what? Since I have a child, maybe I should become a teacher, because that will then anchor into what I love best, which is teaching people. Now, in the corporate space, I was teaching people financial literacy. Mm-hmm. So I think education and teaching has always been at the core, and of course, that transition for me was definitely an eye-opener, and it wasn't easy, but it was definitely something that forced my hand, and I'm so thankful for it. And that thing that forced my hand was my daughter coming into our world and asking me to rethink, do I really want to spend all my time in a space that doesn't allow me to spend time with her, her in childcare, putting her into, somebody else's care that's not me. So all of that shifted my thinking on being the best version of myself so I can be the best version for her.
So that's how C3 education started.
Absolutely.
Wow, amazing. So from that, did you initially started the tutoring center from home?
Oh yes, my goodness. It was so funny because, great question again. It was so funny because obviously I had to rope in the husband, and I said, you know what? I am going to be a teacher and I need a space to learn how to teach. Even though, of course, I love teaching already. I said, I really need, to really learn and hone my skills. Can you please take the child and spend time with her? So when I first started C3 Education Group, and the reason why I did was because I went into a school landscape, and I don't want to be, the bearer of bad news and all of that, but I still think there is a lot that needs to be improved as far as our teaching system, our education system. But that's a conversation for another day. But on a more personal level, when I was in that environment, I thought to myself, these children need more effective and more efficient outcomes and results. And I think after I spent a bit of time in the school landscape, I thought to myself, no, I really need to be able to make more impact. So that's who I am, is to make an impact as quickly, efficiently, and effectively as possible. So was I planning to start a tuition college? No. Was I planning to teach people literacy? Yes. And being able to speak, communicate, be creative, be confident, and thus C3, creativity, confidence, and communication, that was really at the core and the pillars of what I wanted for every learner out there. And the reason why was because I looked at my daughter and I thought to myself, what if she's going through school and she doesn't have the right tools? If she, doesn't know how to be creative and hasn't been inspired to be so? What if she is not confident? And my eldest daughter is very shy, so we spent a lot of time building that confidence. And just to let you know, she's studying medicine right now, and I never thought that could have happened. And of course, being able to communicate, all your creativity and all your confidence, to be able to communicate that. So I think, coming back to your question about how C3 started, the core of what I wanted was to impact learners, and who better to help children, because they are they absorb information so rapidly, and if you set them on the right path and they're inspired, they will take off. I'm not saying that adults are harder to teach, but we're all very much set in our ways. So C3 really started from that philosophy, just to sort of impact learners, and the younger the better. And that's why we've got childcares now, because I feel that when I was teaching older kids, that all of that inherent learning wasn't there. So my objective is to impact the kids as early as I could. And now, funnily enough, my virtuous cycle is a lot of the children that I taught 20 years ago, if you do the math, are all now adults. And they've actually come full circle, asking me business questions and a different type of learning.
Wow.
So it's almost me seeing this life cycle of learning and life cycle of me still being able to impact, you know, me ages all the way through to infinity, all the way through to infinity. So to
That's stuck with you forever.
Exactly. So to answer your question, yes, I started literally in a single room. And, you know, the whole idea was really not to start a tuition centre, but to start an area or a space for children to learn something and make it fast. I'm a migrant, I'm a refugee, you know, from the Vietnam War. And I know when I was growing up, I didn't have the sorts of support when it came to literacy, okay? Asians stereotype are very good at maths, but when it comes to English, writing essays, you know, and reading, it's not because our parents didn't want to, they just didn't have the tools. So 20 years ago, I really spotted that gap. And it was so important because it's all part of communication, isn't it? Especially if they're in a Western country. So I catered to that gap. And we all know that if you have good literacy and good understanding of reading and comprehension, that filters through every single other subject that you'll learn at school. So that, in a nutshell, is how it all started.
Wow, I love that. So amazing. That's such an amazing thing that you're doing for the younger generation. I love that. Like you say, C3 is now starting with childcare, and you're actually impacting them, influence them since a very young age. And that's the age of 0 to 7 is how the child is molded as well.
Yep.
Wow.
That is right. Because formative learning, their brains are developing. They are the most absorbent, even from the minute they are born. They are completely aware of the world. And I think as adults and as educators, really as adult parents, stakeholders that impact the child, if we are able to provide them with as much learning, cognitive stimulation, what can we create? We can create the most holistic and whole child that's going to contribute to our future. So, so I'm taking it all the way back to birth.
I love that. That's such an amazing, and you are creating that ripple effect, that creating a better future for the world that probably you wasn't seeing that big, like how big is it, but it can literally impact the world with what you're doing.
I'm hoping. I'm really hoping, and that's all we can do. You know, I'm not trying to change the world all at once. Grassroots movement is really important, and even if it's one child, 2 children, and so on, so one person, 2 people, and so on and so forth, this is really going to take it out even until the time that I'm not here.
Yeah, one person at a time. And like I say, it's such a amazing work that you're doing, and I'm super grateful for what you share with us. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us, Christine. And I think that's such a, it's going to be so inspiring to people out there. Again, such a successful business that you have, and now it's not only you are, like you say, you are not influence the little people, but you're also influence the adults, helping them with the business, and it's a full circle. And you manage to build such a successful business while raising 4 children, and all high achieving children as well. So what message would you share to other mothers, especially who probably was hesitant to start this entrepreneurial journey because I have kids to look after, but you started when your daughter was a baby?
Yes. You know, I'll share a story about where I was the other day. So I was actually invited to a book launch, and it was a really fantastic experience because, you know, not a lot of people get to be part of a circle that is quite exclusive. And I actually went to someone's private car collection it was amazing. It was in a contained warehouse, all temperature controlled, because a lot of these cars would cost at least $500,000 each. And there would have been easily 15 cars in that warehouse. So the book launch happened there, and I was very privileged to go there and witness it. And whilst I was there, we were having a conversation with a friend who was asking me the same question about success and children, etc. And I was racking my brain, and I thought to myself, what do I give to my children whilst I was in the process of building my business that enabled them to become who they are? And the answer was, and I know it sounds cheesy, but it is true. The answer is love. Love. You can't stop what your own passion is because you love what you do. The children require love from you to be the best version of them. And whilst you are starting your business, you are going to be spending a lot of time in it. And as a mum, we always feel, guilt, mother's guilt. Spending time, we're not doing what we're doing. Now, did I have to rope in a lot of people to be my physical by proxy person to look after my children? I did. I had to pull in my mum, my dad, my in-laws. Everybody had to be my support system when I started building my business and it was growing. But one thing that really did not stop me was every minute that I spent, even if it was small minutes of the day, was an intense love for my children. And what does that love look like? It could be hugs and kisses and cuddles. And as they grew older, it was about deep and meaningful conversations. I never sugarcoat any of my conversations with my children. I call a spade a spade. They don't hesitate to tell me things that they are happy with or not happy with, because the dialogue and the safe space is always there. Do they appreciate that I am always working? Yes. But do they appreciate that they can speak to me anytime, either through text, I have a phone call, or texting me saying, I'm going to just jump on the phone with you? That safe space stems from love. And that love could be a minute of the day. It could be 5 hours that you don't have client calls or you're not teaching of the day. You make the most of it. And I know it sounds corny, but when I reflect on my children and what they're like today, they don't have the challenges that I hear some other parents experience, either through, their teens being teens or whatever it is, but or if they're starting a business and they don't have time to spend with the children and they have this mum guilt. So what they do is they compensate with buying things. My children know that I never buy them anything, because anything tangible cannot replace that love that I give them. And I always say to them, one kiss from me and one kiss from you, and our kissing and our exchanging, our loving and our hugging is priceless. Nothing is going to replace that. No Christmas present, birthday present is going to replace that. So that's my long-winded answer to what advice I would give to mums who want to start a business. Because I think as parents, when we are busy and we don't have that time, we try and replace it with something tangible. And that's, to me, not always the answer. So I hope that answers your question.
That's so beautiful, so true. It's like, it's mom's guilt definitely is something that we will feel, and so true. It's sometimes we try to give them what they want, but it is so true that you mentioned that the time that we spend with them, probably didn't really say it about that, but I think they will appreciate it.
No, and they will never tell you. Never tell you that they appreciate the time that you spend with them, because they're children, and we're always going to have to lead that. So if we're leading by example, and leading by framing and pre-framing what we're giving them that is not a toy, then from the very beginning of the conversations that you have with them, then they appreciate that, so this hug or this kiss or this time just sitting there and reading a book is priceless, and I don't really need a toy to replace that.
Wow, that's such a great advice there, Christine. Thank you so much. I think it's especially important for a lot of mompreneurs out there, which probably sometimes we didn't realize that. And yeah, love is the answer, and it's with the love we can see things in a different perspective as well. And yeah, that's such a great piece of information there, Christine. So you mentioned about C3 education. I did have a look at your website on C3 education. You
Yes.
foster growth mindset for your students, not only for your students and for your team as well. So how do you do that?
This is such an enjoyable process. Many moons ago, when I was studying psychology at university, I came across this, it was a relatively new being 30, 40 years, that's sort of new in the evidence-based realm of allied health and health, etc. A lady by the name of Carol Dweck, D-W-E-C-K, and she created a concept called, the positive mindset and growth mindset versus fixed mindset. Now, of course, that idea and concept has flourished in many other aspects of human behavior and psychology. But that was probably the first time that I thought to myself, you can actually be the leader of your brain. You can actually be the best version of yourself by, knowing, awareness, thinking, all your thoughts. So having that growth mindset to implement a can-do attitude is how I live my life. Now, when you are living and breathing, and as you said, I'm bubbly and quirky, this is what I am. So if you are this, then the idea is the people you work with, it's almost infectious to them. How do I do this? I love harmony with my staff, and I love harmony between my staff, and I love collaboration, which I think I've spoken to you about, in the past. Every time I see, an opportunity to grow someone or to help someone grow, or me learning from them for myself to grow, I'm not shy to put it out there. How do I foster that mindset with my staff? We speak daily. We joke daily. Is the work there? Yes, the work is always there. I'm not a micromanager. I love to trust that my staff know what they're doing. Do I train them? Yes, of course I do. So their ability to understand, okay, here is my vision, here is my concept, but I've employed you, or I've collaborated with you because you are just as smart as me in different areas and different skills. And being able to trust them also means that they have a mutual respect for me. And in essence, everybody has their strengths in my company. Everybody has their ability to do certain things, and because they have a can-do attitude, no one is ever fearful of just putting up their hand saying, I need help, to draw from the skill pool that we have. So that's the idea of really fostering a collaborative, work environment, a can-do environment. I was actually reflecting on how long the average tenure of people who work with us, in that scope, I think the average is roughly about 10 years.
Wow.
That's half the time that C3 Education Group has been around. So I do take pride in the fact that we've fostered, so many pathways and skill sets and abilities, for our staff, past and present. Of course, we've had staff turnover. A lot of the times that's because they've been there for 5 years, 7 years, 8 years, and it's okay. People move on.
That's right.
Or we have trained and nurtured so many school teachers who've now gone into the school system and giving back in their own way. So I think at the end of the day, this is how we foster, that growth mindset all together in a work environment.
Wow, that's such a great opportunity that they're given because of working with you, and you're such a great like employer who allowed them to grow, and that's definitely allowed them to bring on their knowledge, and then they can go a long way with the experience of them working with you. Yeah, I love that.
And I learn from them too. Don't get me wrong, it's a two-way learning street, and I trust their skill set, and I trust, so a lot of it is about trust and collaboration. So I'm really proud of that.
Wow, love that. Are you still hiring? Maybe I should go and work.
Yes, come and work with us, Vivienne.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that, Christine. I love that you are such a, definitely we can always feel your energy when we're around you, and your staff is so lucky to be with you as well. Yeah, so we're going to shift gear a little bit. We asked about entrepreneurship, mompreneur. How about the parenting side of things? So how did you approach, because of the technologies nowadays, everything is technology, especially after the pandemic, kids use screen a lot of time. So how did you approach technology use and screen time management while ensuring the children stay academically competitive?
Yes, I think this is such a relevant question, because obviously, for obvious reasons, I want to pre-frame it with, can we actually avoid technology devices? And the answer is no. Even adults, we get addicted, scrolling, all of that. These are vices that we can't avoid. How did I manage it? And I'm just going to talk about my own experience with my children, because, there are 4 of them. And it's like catching chickens all the time. Not just keeping them in line, but, catching chickens as far as being aware of what they're doing. I come back to the concept of love. All parents love their children. There's no doubt about it. But different parents have different parenting styles. My own experience is all about bringing it back to the love and the talking. I talk endlessly with my children. Conversations that open up their feeling of safety, so that I can really get in there and segue into lessons that they can take on. Of course, they don't want to be nagged at, but if you're talking just on a day-to-day basis, sharing information that's out there, sharing the dangers, sharing questions, open-ended questions for them to think about, and again, it's always about that safe space that they have, that they can talk to you about their concerns. So my indirect and direct answer to that is, you can't avoid them with devices, because at times you sound like a hypocrite when you're taking away a device, but you're on a device yourself. Number 1. Number 2, how do you navigate around that? Is talking to them about the moral uses of devices, the moral uses. So I remember, when my older kids, when they asked me for Instagram, let's say for the first time, we agreed that their faces couldn't be on it. If they wanted to post something, they could post objects. They could post, things that did not indicate their face or, parts of their body. Now, I didn't say to them, you're not allowed to do this. I had to explain to them what the impact could be. Now, if they are old enough to have these devices, well, then they should be old enough to understand the consequences. Okay. Of course, there's positives and negatives, but as a parent, you need to navigate the entirety of that landscape. If you're not ready to speak to them about the consequences, such as, online pornography and all of those, let's call a spade, then don't give it to them. Then don't expose them at all. So it's about the parent being a good leader, knowing the type of conversations to have, and having them gently for the appropriate age. But as far as I see it, if the device is given to the child, then the parent needs to be ready to have these sorts of conversations. And if you're not ready to have them, then don't extend the device availability to them. Don't get them used to screen time. Limit. Right. So that is sort of my direct and indirect answer to it, because you can't avoid devices. You cannot avoid technology. Children need to know how to navigate around it. They already expose them at schools, with iPads and laptops so that they know how to type. Plan is done on a laptop. It's not written anymore. So things like this mean that they will be exposed. But from a home front, I will always ask myself, am I ready to have that conversation? Do I know how to have that conversation? If I don't, consult other parents or experts. And when I'm ready to have that conversation, I need to pre-frame it for my child using a device so that they understand the pros and cons and all of that. Only because online bullying, horrible things that you can accidentally find online, you don't want that for your children.
So true. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that, Christine. I literally have goosebumps listening to what you share. I'm so grateful that I'm able to pick Christine's brain today. She got so much knowledge. Obviously, it's not easy to become a parent. There's so many to learn. We have to learn about all these social medias. We have to learn about the game sometime. We have to learn I'm not a person who play games. So I have to learn what game is this. Sometimes I have to learn to play the game so that I know what is that about. Definitely so many work to do as a parent, but Christine is such an amazing parent. She's like, to me, Christine is a walking encyclopedia. She knows everything. She's like, she knows from parenting to K-pop. She's such a cool yeah.
I secretly enjoy K-pop, so it's all good.
Wow. I think she is such a cool mom to be with, a cool boss to be with as well. So another question about parenting is that I know that we're very well aware of the time, but she got so much knowledge that I got this opportunity to pick that I have to pick right away so that we don't miss these opportunities. So Christine, what advice would you give to parents who are concerning about pushing their children too hard versus not challenging them enough?
You know what? I get this question daily.
So I know you got the answer.
And I love answering this question. I have two letters, and the letter is PB, personal best. PBs are always achieved in sports, because we're in Australia, we love our sports. But I apply this academically as well. Okay, so if we're just purely looking at an academic answer and pushing the children from that front, always reward them if they have achieved their personal best. That is how you push your child. You don't push your child to compare with somebody else, because that is not their personal best. And every child is unique. I cannot stress that enough. My 4 children are, I don't even know where they came from other than physically from me. But personality-wise, they cannot be more different. Just my 1 and 2, my number 1, number 2, they cannot be from, they're completely opposite sides of the learning spectrum, the interest spectrum. So things like that, already in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, and I've applied this from day one with them, is what is their personal best? If their personal best is a 2 and they're at a 1, then you set the bar at 2. If their personal best is an 8 and they're at a 7, then you set the bar at 8. But you cannot possibly set the bar at 8 for someone who is only at a 1. Okay, and I think incremental increases consistently, and you've probably seen me post all the time, fierce consistency is the key. Fierce consistency is the key. Your language with them has to be consistent. Your expectations of them have to be consistent. Your approach, to your love has to be consistent. All of these things have to be consistent so that they know how to achieve their personal best. Because if their personal best is 2 today, it might be 4 tomorrow. It might be 6 the next day. Before you know it, their personal best could be 9 or 10 out of 10. But if you encourage them to hit those marks, right, to achieve their personal best, then you're going to have a happy child, happy learner, and happy parent.
Oh, such a beautiful answer there, Christine. I love that. And such a great reminder for myself as a parent as well, and for many, many parents out there as well. Stop comparing. As Christine was saying, every child have their own journey, has their own path, and they have their own pace as well, and they're unique. And such a great reminder. Thank you so much for sharing with us that, Christine. So yes, I'm very well aware of the time. As you can hear from our conversation, Christine have a very wealth of knowledge. Okay, she got so many knowledge from parenting, entrepreneurship, from a lot of different perspectives. So who can reach out to you? I know that obviously you are you have your C3 education. Who else can reach out to you for your help?
Everyone can reach out to me, because I am sure that, my little impactful, dedication, I am sure I can either help you directly or direct you to the right people, because I really do believe that it's about who you know. It's not about what you know. So you can always reach out to me on LinkedIn. Please connect with me on Facebook, on Instagram, however you want. It's just Christine Wan. I'm sure when you type me into LinkedIn, you'll find me, and all my other socials. So I do invite people to connect with me, because just one other person impacted, one other person that I can direct in the right direction and save all that time, okay, and achieve your own personal best. That's my objective.
Oh, see how big heart is Christine is. She can literally help any of you. If she can't help you, I'm sure she can direct you to the right person, like she said. I'm going to include all Christine's socials in the description, in the link. You can get in contact with her, have a chat with her. You can feel her energy, and she's such a lovely person. Like I say, it's so good to be with Christy all the time, because she's so funny sometimes as well. Yeah. So,
I'm trying to contain myself right now. Otherwise, we'd just be laughing more than we talk.
I know. She is like, she's always, and Christine can really talk sometimes. And yes, we got a few experience that Christine was actually chased out from the restaurant because they are closing. That's how she is so passionate about what she's doing. She's always so genuinely wanting to get to know you. I love that, Christine. So we did mention where can people find you online already. We're going to reach out to her if you need to have a chat with her. And because this is a 100 Successful Women podcast, I know that you share with us a lot of tips as well. So if you have to give one piece of advice to other women out there, what would that be, Christine?
If it's one piece of advice amongst a million pieces of advice that I'm happy to disseminate, and if you'd like to call me, I'm happy to give you the 99 others, is just be fiercely consistent. If you have a passion or an inspiration to do something, keep it fiercely consistent and you will get there, because that is what success is. Okay, fierce consistency.
I love that. Fierce consistency. That's such a great reminder for myself as well. And thank you so much, Christine. I know that at the beginning of our conversation, I did tell Christine, we're going to try to limit it to 30 minutes. And now we are like nearly 1 hour. I still have a lot of questions that I want to pick from Christine brands, but we are well aware of the time. And I really appreciate your time with us, Christine, so much. Knowledge that you share with us, so many golden nuggets. Before we wrap up our conversation today, Christine, is there anything that you want me to ask that I haven't asked yet?
I think you have asked the scope of my career and the scope of everything that I can teach. So look, like Vivienne said, I have been chased out of restaurants with my friends before because we have so much to share. So all I can say is if you want to have a chat, I'm so open to it, so just reach out to me on socials. I think Vivienne has had the scope of it. Otherwise, we'd be here for 3+ hours, even though I'd love that. I don't know about the listeners. We'll give their ear a rest. So thanks, Vivienne. I think you've covered everything.
Thank you so much, Christine. Like I say, Christine is a walking encyclopedia. She got wealth of knowledge that I know 1 hour is not enough. Thank you once again, Christine, for your time, for your sharing with us so open-heartedly, and I really enjoy our conversation. Maybe next time we'll invite Christine again to share more about her tips in a lot of areas that she knows. Thank you so much, Christine.
Thank you, Vivienne.
Bye for now.